Hi everybody, welcome to Go with Grace. So I wanted to do a video just about elimination communication, nappy-free, diaper-free, whatever you want to call it. Let's call it EC for the sake of this video so I don't keep repeating myself. So this is something people ask us a lot about, and I thought it would be handy to kind of try and summarize everything here that people ask about the most. So this is what we've always done with our older daughter and now with our younger daughter. We've never done anything else in terms of baby waste management. I don't know how to use nappies or anything. This is just what we've always done. So I don't claim to be any kind of expert in this. I just am going to be sharing from our experiences what's been the most helpful for us. And I get it as well that this might not be appealing to everyone. People certainly have curiosity about it a lot, but maybe they don't want to do it themselves. You know, maybe they're concerned about the messes, or somebody else, you know, helps you with your child who wouldn't want to do this or whatever. You can do it part-time, something to consider. You don't have to do it all the time. It's not like an all or nothing thing. So anyway, that's my intention here, is to share kind of some of the main points about EC. If I was to try to kind of summarize what I feel like EC is about at this point, I think I would say, and I did say this in another video recently, I feel that the main point is that you're giving opportunities to a small baby to release waste away from their body. You know, I think if given the choice, most people probably wouldn't want their waste right against them. You know, their pee and their poo like held against their skin and maybe smearing around and stuff. You know, I think most people would prefer to release it away from them somewhere. And with a really small baby, they obviously can't move by themselves. They can't crawl or walk somewhere to release that stuff somewhere away from themselves. So it's like you're taking them somewhere and giving them the opportunity to release stuff. That's kind of what it's all about. Now the questions people usually ask is, how do you know when to do that and what do you do at night? Those are the main things people always ask, so I'm going to kind of address those. With our younger daughter now, Leah, I started when she was a week old, and she's now almost 11 months as I film this. So when I say I started with her a week old, I mean I was starting to consciously try to catch pees and poos, like holding her over some kind of receptacle, and starting to learn her rhythm, starting to get into the timing with her. Whereas, you know, during those first few days postpartum, she was just kind of releasing stuff onto pads like this, cotton topped, plastic backed pads. So at a week of age, I started to kind of consciously try to get into the rhythm with her and catch things. And with her older sister, with Araya, I started when she was 3 weeks old. I just kind of couldn't get my head around it until that age with her. But with both of them, from the very first time of trying, it just works. It's pretty remarkable. You know, if you've never done this or seen this, it can be a bit kind of mind-blowing. It's almost like an inbuilt program in babies. So pretty much all you do to help a baby release stuff is you hold them usually with their back against your chest, and you hold them under each leg, under each thigh, like that. And I mean, you can just do that, and you hold them over something, whatever, like a toilet, a sink, a Tupperware, the ground, anything, doesn't matter. And often that's just enough, actually, just being in that position. But what I did and have continued to do, it make the sound like P-S-S-S-S-S, and that's kind of a prompt for peeing. And especially if you try that after a baby has just woken up, babies almost always want to pee after they wake up. So if that's what I did with Araya, the very first time that I ever tried this, she had just woken up and I held her over a little bowl and I said, psst, and she just went into the bowl, and it was like magic. And that gave me so much confidence. I realized, oh, this isn't that hard. And I just kind of carried on from there. And, you know, that's all Araya did her whole life, was EC. You know, she never had a nappy or anything, and now that's what we're doing with her sister. And the same thing, you know, she's now 11 months and almost 11 months as I'm filming this. Probably by the time I put this out, she'll be 11 months. And she, at this point, you know, we almost never change clothes. You know, when she was younger, maybe during the day she would change clothes, or I would change clothes, or both of us, because of different accidents and stuff. We almost never have accidents anymore. Sometimes, but very rarely. And because you just get into the rhythm with each other, you know, and she's also at night, she's pretty much dry through the night now. Again, sometimes not, sometimes she'll pee in the night, but the majority of the time she's dry. And she'll hold pee until I take her somewhere. So again, that thing of opportunities. And of course, you know, now she's like 11 months. She's learned over the months that I'm going to help her to get somewhere to release that stuff other than right next to her. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so the main thing that people ask about EC always is, how do you know when a baby wants to go? Now, there's different ways that people address this. The main thing that I go by is timing. I just kind of think, well, it's been a while since she's gone, and I just take her somewhere to see if she wants to pee. So, you know, if she doesn't pee, like, what have you lost? But if she does pee, that's great, you know. Then, as I mentioned, every time after a baby wakes up, they usually want to pee. And also, you know, you can just kind of tell from the timing of when did they last eat and how long has it been, or, you know, breastfed or bottle fed or however they're receiving nutrition. How long has it been since then? Are they probably ready? You know, people also go by facial expressions or different noises. You know, I'm sure every baby is different. The main thing that I have always gone by, though, is timing. Just thinking, oh, it's been a while, and just trying. The other thing is that the cues can change over time. So at different points in this last 11 months, there's been different things that I've noticed about her patterns that have told me if she wants to pee or poo. So, for example, I don't think she really does this anymore, but if she was laying still, if she was laying down and she's kind of constantly moving, and then if she suddenly became very still and quiet, that meant that she probably wanted to pee. And especially if she would put her hand down to her groin, it was like she was anticipating something, you know. So again, it's so cool. It's like the baby is learning their own rhythms. They're realizing, oh wait, hang on, something's about to happen. And there was another thing similar to that, that if someone was holding her, this was like a few months ago, she had these kind of patterns, and if someone was holding her and she was ready to pee, she would suddenly kind of out of nowhere get really fussy, and there's kind of like no other explanation for it. Then it would be like, oh, she probably wants to pee. And with pooing, the main useful cue that I've noticed is she has almost always released gas prior to pooing. So it's kind of cool as well as like a kind of early warning system. If she released some gas, then I would just take her somewhere, and then almost always she would start pooing. Also with pooing, it seems really common from the things that I've read and heard about EC, and I definitely noticed it as well. Babies get this really funny kind of faraway look in their eyes, like totally spaced out kind of look when they're ready to poo, which again is really interesting. I think, you know, it's like all their energy kind of goes inwards into the intestines, like they're just kind of focused on the bodily sensations inside, like what is going on, and they get this total like space cadet look on their faces. And then, you know, so usually you're holding the child over something for them to release everything, and then once they're done, there's different cues then for them usually to signal to you that they're done. So with Leah, what she usually does is she starts to push back against me. So you know, her back's here against me, and she starts to push and also push to the side, and then I know that she's really done. So obviously you could take a baby anywhere to help them to release stuff, as I already said. My preference these last 11 months has been to hold her over a sink where there's like a mirror in front, like a kind of, you know, hand sink or whatever in a bathroom. Now, if the idea of a baby peeing and pooing in a sink kind of freaks you out in a bathroom, I would encourage you to think about the fact that everything in a bathroom leaves through the same tubing, whether it's like going through the shower drain or the toilet or the sink. It's all like leading through the same tubing. And, you know, really, if you think about it, peeing and pooing into clean water through any of those receptacles is pretty weird. You know, the whole situation's kind of weird. And especially if you're dealing with a breastfed baby, and they haven't even started solids yet, then their poo is just breast milk coming out the other end. It's pretty much liquid. So it's very easy to just, you know, turn on the tap and everything washes down, and you're dealing with that for like a few seconds, washing some poo, liquid poo down a sink, rather than dealing with a nappy that's, you know, completely covered in poo and smeared all over your baby and that entire situation. So it seems, if you think about it that way, maybe it's a bit more logical and less messy. And if there's a mirror there like that at a sink as well, it's like you can see the baby's expressions and their movements and stuff a lot more easily. So then it's easier to read what's going on, like if they're about to pee or poo, or they're done, or like what's going on. So that's been my preference, but she does also like to release over the toilet. Other people like to start using potties, like baby potties. We do have a potty like that. I haven't used it with her yet. I probably will start doing that. Araya used that. So there's different ways you can go about it. So the other thing people ask about a lot is, what do you do at night? I guess the main thing that we do is she sleeps on these plastic backed pads. I'll try and put the link to these on Amazon in the description. These are my favorite. They're like very big. They're quilted on top, organic cotton, and then plastic backed. I think we have 8 of these. They come in packs of 2. And then I do actually have another kind of cloth like this. This one's weird. I don't know how it works. It's flannel, and somehow it's completely waterproof. I didn't know flannel was waterproof. Anyway, they're very thin, these ones. So I like to take these ones out with us when we go places. I usually have a couple of these like stashed in my bag, in case, you know, I'm sitting somewhere with her and I just want to not have any accidents. Then I have one of these. So yeah, at night she sleeps on top of one of these. I'm actually sitting on her bed right now, so you can see her whole ensemble right here. She wears a little very sweet woolen jacket thing like this, so it just covers, you know, from her torso up. And then she sleeps at the moment inside sleep sacks like this one, for example, because babies kick blankets off all the time, right? It drives me insane. I really want to know what that's about. Anyway, so yeah, she sleeps inside a sleep sack like this. And then, as I said, she very rarely pees anymore, so during the night. So if she does happen to pee, I just pull off the sleep sack, put on a different one, and change out this thing from underneath her. But very often we go through the whole night and with none of that happening. And then also at other points, she's been just sleeping on top of one of these with the little jacket thing and just blankets over her. But she has a very strong tendency to kick all the blankets off. So I started to use these sleep sacks instead. I hear that it's more challenging with boys, especially at night, because it's like a kind of fountain effect when they pee. We don't have any boys, so I don't know about that. I guess I've heard people saying they maybe put one of the plastic back pads on top of the child as well as underneath, something like that. I don't really know how I would handle that if it was me. While we're on the subject of clothing and things, I'd just like to show you this. I feel like these are the best form of clothing for EC babies. They're like little gowns. Sometimes people call them layette gowns, I think. There's different names for them. My favorite company to get them from is Kiki Pants, which is Kicky pants, I believe. And they have really lovely stuff in bamboo, great designs. This is from Kiki Pants. It's really stretched out now. She's worn it so much. We have a few of these different little gowns, and that's pretty much like what she has lived in the 11 months so far. They're just really easy for pulling up and helping the child to release whatever. You know, if a baby's wearing onesies or things that have like poppers everywhere, or you got to take trousers off of them or something, it just is not as easy, you know, as something like this where you can just pull it up and they release whatever and then you pull it back down again. So again, if you had a boy, I don't know like how that would work, like if that would seem funny or something, a boy being in a gown like this. But for us, this has been the best kind of clothing for dealing with EC. I think that's the main stuff that I wanted to share. I guess if there's any more questions, comments, whatever, put them in the comments and I'll maybe do another video at some point if it seems like there's more things that didn't get answered. I guess, you know, if anyone was interested in pursuing this path, there are a lot of other resources out there. The main book that I read prior to embarking on this whole thing is the book Diaper-Free by Ingrid Bauer. You know, that's great. There's all kinds of websites and DVDs and all kinds of things. And I guess I would just emphasize again, I feel like the main point is that you're giving the baby opportunities to release. You know, just think about it that way, then maybe it's not so overwhelming. You know, just watch for the baby's cues. You'll get into your rhythm together over time with the timing and their facial expressions and all those kind of things. And don't expect it to be perfect straight out of the gate. It's not going to be, and it probably never will be, you know, but just think of all the money and time and energy and mess and everything that you're saving through not dealing with especially disposable nappies, but even cloth nappies, you know, all of the washing and cleaning and the expense of it all and everything. So I think it can be a really cool thing to experiment with your child. A really great way of helping them to get in touch with their own body and for you to learn about their rhythms. And they also usually potty trained far earlier than a child would usually be in our society. You know, I think most children start about 3 or 4 years of age at this point, potty training. An EC child is usually fully competent at recognizing their own body's releasing patterns at maybe like a year, 18 months, something like that, you know, because they're just in touch with it from the beginning, if that's when you start. So I guess that's it. Yeah, let me know if any other questions, and thanks for watching.